Good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Shelly Speaks Truth right here on TV.tv. If you are joining for the first time, welcome, and I hope you enjoy the show. If you are returning, welcome back, and I hope you enjoy the show as well. Now, what we do around here is we usually stream from a few other platforms outside of TV. But if you would like to see the entirety of the show, you will have to come over to TV.tv. If you are watching on any of the other platforms, I believe it is Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram. If you are watching on those platforms, if you would like to see the entire show, you will have to come over to TV.tv because at some point in the show, the streaming on those platforms will end and the remainder of the show will play out over on TV.tv, and that is the number 2, Brawl, the number 4, TV.tv. With that being said, once again, welcome and let's get into the show.
Let's go. There we go.
Oh, and that voice you guys hearing from the background, because I have to remember that some of you may be here for the first time. That is my co-host Dre, also the producer of the show. And we're just going to go ahead and get into it. So tonight I did want to talk about the Cincinnati Brawl. By now, many of you may know about this. It is an incident that occurred in Cincinnati, Ohio, where a very big fight broke out after, I believe, a jazz festival or something like that in the city. And it has caused a lot of controversy. And you know, when fights occur between black people and white people, it instantly becomes a racialized incident, and justifiably so, since we do live in a country that, you know, has a history and, you know, present day of racial tension and just, you know, racialized society. Although, if you ask many people, they will say, oh, you know, we're living in a post-racial society and things like that. But many people who, you don't know the truth, they understand that that's not necessarily true. People have, you know, learned how to be cordial with each other. But at the end of the day, America is still a country that operates with a lot of racial tension. And, you know, I personally feel like if anything is ever going to change, the denial about the racial tension that happens in this country is something that's going to have to be confronted, because you can't solve a issue by continuing to deny it. And honestly, if, you know, that denial continues, I just don't foresee there ever being any type of racial solidarity, if you want to call it that. I just don't see that happening if people are not going to be honest about the type of society that we're living in, because it's a very racialized society, and it always has been. Now, in this particular Cincinnati Brawl situation, the thing that I have noticed that's really, you know, kind of par for the course and indicative of especially the mainstream, lamestream, you know, what Palmetto Star calls the mayonnaise media. You see them because, you know, in my opinion, and in many others' opinion as well, since this is a situation that involved black men and a white male, you know,
White couple?
Yeah, it is a white couple, is what they're saying. But I
think a lot of the outrage, well, from what I've heard, a lot of the outrage is about the woman that was, you know, a part of the beat them.
Yeah, I'm gonna get into that in a minute, because I don't, you know, I just don't understand why she would involve herself in that. But I'm gonna touch on that point, you know, here shortly. But the thing that has a lot of people outraged is the fact that the media is trying to make the agitators, the ones who, started the violence in the event, they're trying to make them out to be the victims. And this is something that we see far too many times, especially in these situations, honestly, when there is primarily white people, but I would say any group of people that aren't black. Unfortunately, what ends up happening is that if there are black people involved in any type of incident such as this, the media goes out of their way before they even have all the information and the evidence to portray the black people involved in that situation as the aggressors and whoever else is involved as the victims. And this is no different. We see that happening, although many people and witnesses and people who have seen the video are all saying, this guy who ended up getting beat down, he was the one that initiated the attack.
You also hear that it also possibly, the officials are saying it's also possibly a drug deal on that.
I haven't heard that. I have not heard that. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. They don't have any evidence of that. They're just doing a lot of what we're seeing happening right now, and what's getting on my last nerves is the fact that they're trying to create so many different narratives around this situation to just negate the fact that this guy put his hands on somebody. If you don't want someone to swing back, don't swing first. This is something we were taught as children, to keep your hands to yourself. Because for every action, there is a reaction. And, you have the crowd of people that are saying, well, yeah, he did hit him first, but they took it too far. And it's kind of a situation like, if you don't, what's the phrase they say, don't start none, it won't be none? That's kind of the mindset that I'm in about this. Because I don't know any grown man that's going to let you slap them in the face and they're not going to respond to that by hitting you back. What type of audacity do you have to feel like you can just slap another grown man and then it's just going to be okay?
I don't think that's the real issue. I think every sane person would agree with you there. I think what the issue is, at least from what I'm hearing, is the involvement of all the people around, right? And especially where the woman is concerned.
The woman was hit by another white male on the scene because it was a melee and she injected herself into it. As a woman, if I see a bunch of males fighting, I'm not getting into that. Why would I jump myself into the middle of a bunch of men fighting each other? What am I going to do?
Do we have any video?
The video has been circulating. I've looked at the video and I didn't play the video because you can't really see on all the videos that are online, and I personally feel like that is by design because they're trying to leave this very speculative so that they can create a narrative. You have witnesses on the scene that said this man put his hands on that man. And even, let's just say, okay, people were saying, all right, nobody else had to jump in. Even if others did jump in, he didn't tell them to jump in. The person who got slapped or punched or whatever the case may be, he didn't say, hey, jump in and help me. So at the end of the day, why couldn't it was an argument, the situation was de-escalated, And then this guy decided to put his hands on someone. You cannot just be out here putting your hands on people and thinking there won't be repercussions for that. Because everybody could have said what they had to say. There could have been even an argument. But once you throw, a blow, then you're opening the door for things to happen. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like a grown adult person doesn't know that. I'm not going to go out there in the streets and hit someone and then try to pretend like I'm a victim if I get my behind handed to me.
Right.
I started a fight and I lost the fight.
And that goes all ways, right? So, likewise, if I see a fight happening that I have nothing to do with it, and I choose to get involved, and I later get charged, I chose to get involved in something that I didn't have anything to do with. I mean, it works both ways.
I'm not saying that anybody should have jumped into the fight. I'm saying that when you start a fight, you don't know what's going to happen. Period.
Agree. Yeah, agree.
And if there's going to be charges for the people who jumped into the fight, there should be charges for the person that started the fight.
Well, official reports say that the mayor said that everybody that threw a punch in that fight will be charged.
That man has not been charged. It's been days. It's been like a week since that incident occurred. He has not been charged. They're trying to turn this man into a victim. He is not a victim.
Case is not closed, though, right?
He should already be arrested. There's video evidence of him slapping. He initiated an assault on someone. He should already be arrested. He should have been one of the first ones being arrested. They're trying to get him out of this. Well, that's why they keep that. Now they're talking about this was a coordinated. You know what? Let's just play the video because the video. I'm trying to see which one I should play first.
Well, we can only.
Do you really think I don't know we can only play one video at a time?
No, I mean we can only play this one.
And that's the news.
3 charges related to the brawl that happened early Saturday morning on 4th Street in downtown Cincinnati.
Montana's Meriwether, Dekyra Vernon, and
3 people are now in jail on charges related to the brawl that happened early Saturday morning on 4th Street in downtown Cincinnati.
Montana's Meriwether, Dekyra Vernon, and Jermaine Matthews are the first 3 charged in connection to that fight, the video of which went viral. Local 12's David Winter was at their bond hearings today. He joins us now with new details about the fight that has received national attention. David.
Yeah, it sure has, Kyle. All 3 of those suspects behind me right now in jail. 2 of them were arrested by police yesterday. The 3rd turned himself in overnight. Jermaine Matthews is the man who turned himself in overnight. He's 39 years old from Walnut Hills. He's allegedly the man in the red shirt in the video, punching and stomping a man. Matthews' attorney says he was involved in the fight because the man police refer to as the victim kicked Matthews' car and called him a racial slur.
Sees the same individual kicking his business vehicle. He confronts the guy and said, "What are you doing?" That's when, and this clip does exist on social media, it doesn't paint the whole picture, this white individual reaches over, says, "That's your car," and slaps my client in the face. That person, the alleged victim in this case, threw the first punch.
Dekyra Vernon is 24 years old and lives with her mother in Evanston. Her record up till now only included traffic tickets. You can see her in the video, allegedly with the long curly hair, attempting to hit one woman, and then allegedly later hitting another woman from behind. That woman eventually gets knocked out.
The woman that was injured and knocked out, she was trying to render aid to another victim.
She was.
At the time.
She was rendering aid to another victim that was on the ground, trying to get him back to his feet. He's actually trying to get his pants back on because they beat his pants off of him. And while she's rendering aid to that gentleman there,
That's when Miss Vernon comes up and strikes her in the face. Just for no reason at all.
34-year-old Montienez Merriweather is from South Cumminsville. He served 7 years in prison for armed robbery and was out on bond for 4 felony gun charges when the fight occurred.
We have Mr. Merriweather coming up behind the victim, striking him in the side of the face from behind.
So you would call this like a surprise?
So this was more kind of like an ambush.
We spoke with Merriweather's cousins after the hearing. They say the prosecution is distorting the facts and their cousin is not a bad guy.
He's a wonderful guy. He did his time as they said it, but since he did his time, he has changed his life completely. Everything they're trying to point him out to be a thug, that is not him. So,
Yeah, I got to tell you, I saw him in the video, and he was pretty violent.
he was, but you'll be violent if somebody spit on you as well. You'll be violent if somebody called you a racial slur.
Merriweather's cousins say that they want to know why police have not arrested and charged the man who they are calling the victim. After all, police in court today admitted that he threw that first punch. Now, the prosecutor intimated in court that those charges may soon be coming. Incidentally, Matthews is currently charged with assault and aggravated riot. His bond is set at $100,000, but will go up tomorrow likely when police add aggravated assault to his charges. Vernon, the female defendant, got a $200,000 bond. She and Merriweather already have all 3 charges filed against them. Merriweather got a $500,000 bond. The prosecutor plans to present his case to the grand jury on August 8th. Incidentally, that woman who was knocked out, dropped to the ground, she apparently is from Russia, and police say that she has now returned to Russia, caught a flight on Sunday. Reporting live from the courthouse. David.
So if you're anything like me, you're wondering why charges may be filed on the person that they have already admitted threw the first punch. Why is it only charges may be filed? If you hit someone, isn't that assault, and shouldn't charges have already been filed? And this is the blatant bias and hypocrisy that people are upset about, and justifiably so, because we're literally seeing this. They're saying, oh, don't make this about race. Well, they're saying that this guy used a racial slur, so apparently he already made it about race. And then when you see only the black people being arrested, how can you not make it about race? Now, if everybody involved would have been arrested, then that would have just been what it is. It would have been a fight that was, got very extremely chaotic. But when you have a person who initiated the fight by putting his hands on someone and he still hasn't been arrested, then you have to call a thing a thing. They continue to call him a victim, which he is not. When you put your hands on someone, you forfeit your right to call yourself a victim because you started a fight that you didn't win. And hearing that video now, this whole thing of people shouldn't have jumped in the fight, well, it seems like there were people on their side jumping in the fight as well. So where are those people, and why haven't they been arrested for jumping in the fight as well? You see, like, this whole thing is just ridiculous. And it's showing the blatant racial bias in this situation that people are getting sick and tired of. And those bonds are excessively high as well. What they say, a $500,000 bond for one of those people? I think that's ridiculous. Also, the bonds are way too high. So you're just seeing the hypocrisy in this entire situation, and I don't understand why anybody would be trying to justify that. People on both sides jumped in. It wasn't only on the people who have been arrested side where people jumped in. Obviously, some of their folks jumped in too. And it's just like, okay, they lost a fight. They lost the fight. Nobody ambushed. And now you see that they're creating all these other scenarios where you said something about a drug deal gone. I don't think those people knew them. I think it was just an incident that occurred. I don't think they knew each other prior to this. Now,
there is an actual report that there is an actual report that does state that initially, what caused the initial problem was a drug deal gone bad.
Where are they getting
Something
that
to do
information
with-
from? Anybody can put out a report. Where's the evidence? They don't have any evidence.
Something to do with this Russian couple and the initial people. That's all that the report said.
Ridiculous. And whoever wrote that what do they call that? Yellow journalism. That like you have no integrity as a journalist to put that out. What information do you have to back that up? It's propaganda. It's just a bunch of people saying a bunch of stuff to muddy the waters instead of people sticking to what they can prove. Now, in the news report, they already said that the police officers are saying that this guy threw the first punch. But
Yeah,
yet
I'm
they
not
haven't
debating that
arrested
at all.
him.
I'm not
He needs
debating-
to be arrested and charged along with the other people that they're charging.
Yeah, agreed.
You cannot charge one side and don't charge the other. And his people who jumped in, they need to be charged as well.
Right,
They
like
charge
that.
people for jumping in the fight. The whole point is where is the justice?
So-
Why hasn't justice been rendered on these other people? She
So-
got her ass in a plane and went back to Russia.
So with all that being said, I do need to point out the fact that the mayor, right, city leader, does state that everyone, and mind you, the mayor is not the DA or the person that actually brings the charges, but the mayor says they will see to it that everyone who threw a punch in that brawl is charged. That's the actual word from the mayor.
So why hasn't it happened after a whole week?
I mean, well,
You have
yes.
video evidence and the police admission that he started a fight.
That part I can't answer. I'm
Because
just
they're
telling you.
bullshitting and dragging their feet and they don't want to arrest him.
I'm just telling you what the mayor said.
Yeah, the mayor can say whatever he wants to say. If they were going to do something, they should have already done it. But you already have, four today? I believe a fourth person was arrested today. You already have 4 arrests and this guy still hasn't been arrested. And his folks who jumped in, they need to be arrested as well. Like this woman who interjected herself into the fight, she is on a plane and has already returned to Russia. No charges or anything. And honestly, if it was me, if I found myself involved in a situation like this, and I seen that it was a obvious racial bias in this, I would already be getting an attorney. I would already be filing a racial discrimination lawsuit against them. Because you're not going to tell me that there isn't a racial bias involved in this. You have a group of black people who get into a fight with a group of white people. You have 4 arrests made. Everyone arrested is black and all of the white people are walking away scot-free. Like, are we being trolled? Like, what's happening? Do they think no one can see what's going on here? Is my point. That's my whole point of this situation, because this was a very big fight. And they wanted to arrest people for fighting. Okay, I'm not going to argue if people should or should not be arrested. I personally feel like if you're going to start a fight, if you get your ass kicked, that's on you. But okay, they want to arrest people who jumped into the fight. If that's what they're going to do, then so be it. My problem with this situation is that I can see it for exactly what it is. And it's like they're being so blatantly obvious with it. It's almost like they want you to see the discrimination in this. Because what else is it going to be called? And the mayor can say as much as he wants to say, everybody will be arrested. What the hell is taking you so long when you have admission from the police that he threw the first punch? You have video evidence that he threw the first punch. If you wanted him to be arrested, I would think that would have already happened. What are they waiting for? Are they waiting for him to get on a plane and go back to Russia too? And like I said, the other people that jumped in to fight the other ones who jumped in, everyone should be arrested. You can't. This is unequal justice being rendered on these people. And like I said, people need to continue to call this out, continue to get on your social media, as I see a lot of people doing, and continue to call this out for the blatant racism that it is, because that's exactly what it is. And no one's going to convince me otherwise until that guy is arrested and his people who jumped in his defense to fight with the others until they're arrested as well. And all this nonsense about a drug deal going wrong and all these felonious reports that there's no evidence to prove. Like I said, this is propaganda, and they just want to muddy the waters. And again, I feel like the public needs to continue to do what they're doing. They need to continue to call this out for what it is, and they need to put pressure on that city to make sure that, as the mayor is claiming is going to happen, everyone involved is going to get arrested. Because if they don't arrest this guy, then those other people who were arrested, their charges need to be dropped. America likes to pride itself on being post-racial, and this is an equal society, and yes, we do have racism here, but that's not who we are as a nation, and there's justice and equality for everyone. And it's about time that people start making America stand on what they say, even though we all know it's a blatant lie. If they want to continue to run with this narrative that this nation is based on law and order and justice, then people need to make them stand on that. And if you're going to have racial biases this blatantly obvious in everyone's face, then it needs to continue to be called out. And like I said, if they're not going to arrest those other people, then the charges need to be dropped against these 4 people who have been arrested and charged. Anything other than that is just discriminatory, okay? And if they're going to claim that we are not a nation that discriminates, then they need to be held to that standard, and they need to do what it is that they claim America is doing. Because when you call out the biases, everyone wants to act shocked and act like, oh no, that's not the case. We're seeing it play out right before our eyes. And I mean, again, like I said, I feel like my personal opinion is the people who started the fight should be the ones getting arrested. But, you know, if you're out there on the streets fighting, then there's a chance that you will get arrested. So again, like I said, if they want to arrest everyone involved in the fight, I'm not going to argue that point, even though I don't completely agree with it. I'm not going to argue that decision, you know, if everyone had been arrested. But since that has not happened, I have to call this out for what it is.
Okay, real quick. So, just to be in fairness, right? And like, I don't really want to go with narratives. Me personally, I want to be fair. I just want to put the information out, right? Detectives acknowledge that in court, they acknowledge in court that one of the victims, Jermaine Matthews, this is the one that was struck in the face, right? That caused the problem. This is what caused the problem, the brawl, because Jermaine got slapped in the face by the dude, right? Mm-hmm. So in court, detectives acknowledge that Jermaine Matthews got hit in the face, which is still under investigation, but this individual has not been charged as the official aggressor, right? His last name is D or whatever. It's Russian name, so I can't really go there. Theegge. No, sorry, that's the mayor. Has emphasized that all the individuals causing harm will face consequences, right? So that does suggest that because the investigation is not closed, it's ongoing, right? That this person will face charges. And I'm going to leave it there because the investigation is not closed.
I don't believe that until I see it. And if that's the case, no one should be arrested right now since the investigation is ongoing. Why do you have 4 arrests of the black people involved? No arrests of these Russian whites, but it's an investigation that's ongoing. Then no one should have been charged yet. How do you have an ongoing investigation, but you got 4 people charged, and every time your lying ass is asked about why this person who initiated the fight has not been arrested, you're talking about an ongoing investigation?
Well,
so then no one should be arrested right now.
Well, there's
Finish
actually
your investigation first.
Well, there's actually 6 people charged. Right, 5 of them have been listed. 1 hasn't been listed. 4 has been arrested, but 6 people have been charged.
And what's their names?
Okay. So you have
names,
Jermaine.
I'm almost sure.
You have Jermaine. Like I said, 4 of them have been already arrested. Right. So you got Jermaine, you got Kyra, you got Dominique, and you got Patrick. Those have been charged, and I think the report that you just said, first there were 3 arrested, first, and I played something that said the 4th person turned himself in. But there's still 1, the 6th suspect that is charged, but not yet in custody, with no public details on their identity.
So they.
There's another person that has been charged that the media does not know their name or their identity, and they are not in custody.
But the police know their name and identity.
Yeah. Because they've been charged.
Okay, I don't believe this mayor, and I won't believe him until I actually see that happening, because what the hell is the holdup? Like, you know who this guy is who started the fight. And then I thought in that video, oh no. So let's get into this video. And the reason I'm playing this
So the video still has.
Oh, okay, well.
That thing was so long. And the source that it came from.
I mean, okay, so are we gonna open the phone lines?
Yeah, phone lines.
All right, so I mean, if anybody wants to call in and chime in, share their opinion on the situation, I pretty much have said what I have to say. As
Phone number is 470-6. We're just gonna open the phone lines. We're just gonna assume everybody knows the phone number. They got us locked in.
Well, you have the phone number right there, and you're reading it. So, what's the phone number?
The phone number, guys, is 470-666-2194. Again, that's 470-666. They say that's the number, but 470-666-2194. Again, that's 470-666-2194. Some of these folks, me and Bible Belt, we're a little bit north of the Bible Belt, but we close enough to the Bible Belt. Some folks ain't gonna dial that one. Just for this. I'm just saying.
Please don't get me started on that.
I'm just saying.
Please don't trigger me. Please don't do it, because had this been about 10, 15 years ago, I would have went in real hard, but I don't do that anymore. I do not judge anybody's religious beliefs. You live your life the way you see fit. It's your journey. But I'm not even going to get into that, because if people actually knew what 666 represented. But anyway,
that number.
That's great.
I'm not dialing that number on my cellular phone. I'm not letting the devil in here. Some people gonna say that. I'm just saying. Again, the phone number, guys. If you want to call in and join the phone conversation. We're talking about Cincinnati Brawl. 470-666-2194.
All All right, so while we're waiting on the phone calls to come in, if anybody would like to call, I'm gonna switch gears for a minute because it's August. What's today? August 5th. It's the 6th.
It's the 6th.
Listen, whatever. Okay. After the day I had, it's a wonder I'm still able to speak. But anyway, so we're 6 days into the boycott of the African businesses, and the boycott of the African businesses. Well, really, it's all businesses. But I guess
They boycott African businesses for 6 days now?
Where have you been? Like, didn't we do a whole entire show about this?
Yeah, but I was in an African store yesterday. Today.
You didn't get the memo? I mean, I don't know what you're doing.
Got no problem with them Africans.
You do what? Well, you're not a Foundation of Black Americans, so this doesn't really involve you. But I want to say this because the whole point of me bringing this up, okay, 6 days into the boycott, I really didn't have to do a boycott because I don't shop at African businesses, and I'm not saying that to be mean. It's something that I just don't do. And I did go to an African braiding shop once. I did not have a good experience, and I never went back. But anyway, I'm saying this right now to say, in this entire situation, because it had, like I said, it has gotten pretty bad, and there's some things that have occurred where people had a knee-jerk reaction to this protest, not a protest, but boycott. And they got online and did some things that really shot themselves in the foot. There was this one woman from Liberia who is in the medical field who decided that she was, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people have saw this video because it went super viral. She got online and she decided to declare war on Foundation of Black Americans and said, if you want to go to war, then this, that, and the third. Which no one ever said war. A boycott is not a war. I don't know where these people are getting this from. I don't know what's wrong with these people. It's given psychotic. But anyway, she got online talking about if we want to go to war with them and all this type of crap. And this woman, she's in the medical field, as I said. So she decided that she was going to tell African nurses and doctors not to treat Foundation of Black Americans. I don't know if she didn't study the country that she was coming to, but that is very illegal. It's extremely illegal to be a medical professional and say you're going to deny people medical care based on their race and ethnicity. So now this woman is under investigation. And she 9 times out of 10 is going to end up losing her job. So this is what I want to say. In this situation, the boycott is already happening. And people, it did trigger a lot of people. A lot of people did get angry about it. But this boycott is justifiable if you pull back the layers to why it actually even happened in the first place. So it's not really anything that anybody can do about it. It's happening and it's going to happen for as long as it's going to happen. Now, my advice to the people who are upset about this boycott is to not get online doing things like this woman. Because, I really called into question, like, did you come to a country and didn't study the laws of that country? Like, how did you think that would be okay for you to do that? Do you even know where you are? You just put your finances and things like that in jeopardy and got yourself put under investigation because of a boycott. My whole thing is just, everybody just relax. That's all I'm going to say. Just relax. You don't have to like it. It's going to happen anyway. And I personally feel like it's no reason to get yourself jammed up in life because you're having a knee-jerk reaction to this. And, it's unfortunate for her, but you cannot get on social media especially in the profession that she's in, and just say the things that she said. As a medical professional, you can't deny anyone medical care, and you can't encourage others to do that either. And it's very shocking to me that, I mean, I'm in the medical field to a degree. I don't work with patients, but there's so many training courses and things like that that you have to take. And by her working with patients, I'm sure she's had to take more training courses than me. So how did you not know that what you were doing was unethical, first off, and against, I don't know. Like, I think people are crashing out, and I personally feel like it's not worth you losing your livelihood behind this, because again, it's something that's happening. It's something that's going to continue to happen for as long as it's happening, and putting your livelihood in jeopardy because you are upset about something that you can't change. I just don't see the point of that. I don't see the necessity in you putting yourself in that position, because no one is running to this woman's aid. You actually see a lot of people throwing her under the bus. So that was a boneheaded move on her behalf, and the African boycott is still happening. It's not just the African boycott. I mean, there's a boycott of a lot of different businesses right now, and there's actually a list that has been compiled where people are, there's an actual database that you can go into, and if you have a bad experience at a business, you can plug it into that database, and people are tracking that. I don't have an issue. I don't have the name of the database right now, guys, but you can Google it. You can Google it. I honestly don't have a problem with that. I think that's good, because I've been a person that's been extremely vocal about how customer service is in the toilet completely these days, no matter where you go. And I call out everybody's businesses. If I have a bad experience, I'm going to complain about it. I'm going to say something about it. And I feel like everybody should do the same thing, because I'm not the type of person that wants to spend my hard-earned money to go somewhere and have a bad experience. And that's really what the boycott is rooted in. You know, foundationally, Black Americans say that when they go to these businesses, these people don't show them any respect. Obviously, not every African business falls into this category, but people are on social media, and I'm sure that you have seen the videos of these situations that have happened in the African braiding shops where fights are breaking out and people are asking for a particular hairstyle. They're getting something completely different than what they paid for. And that happened to me, and that's why I never went back. Well, it wasn't me personally, it was my daughter. And they did something to her hair that I completely did not ask for, and then tried to charge me double. Obviously, I went off because I don't play like that. And, you know, I didn't pay them anything other than what I said I was going to pay them. But, you know, I am a tangible living witness of how, you know, the experience in some of those shops can just be awful. So I feel like the boycott is very justified. And then you have the situation that happened with the Essence Fest and Essence Magazine, where you had the guy from, where's this guy from? He's from Liberia, who bought Essence Magazine. And then people went to the Essence Fest and they're like, okay, this is not the Essence Fest that we are used to. This looks like a Jollof festival. So, you know, you had the CEO of Essence Magazine come out and say, you know, she doesn't like this I guess not distinction, but I guess you could say distinction, because she's like, she doesn't really like okay, you're black, but you're this black, I'm that black. And I get that overall, but what these people have to understand is that you're coming into a nation where there's a group of people who's already here, and they already have a culture. So you can't come in and think you're going to overlap over that culture and think they're going to be okay with that, because nobody's going to be okay with that. If we go to Nigeria right now and we try to make, we try to overlap Nigerian culture with foundational Black American culture, people are going to be like, what the hell do you think you're doing? So Essence Fest got a lot of backlash, and you have people making the videos where the Foundation of Black Americans have a problem with it. Then they should have bought the magazine, and an African guy did buy Essence, but I just felt personally like it was a horrible business move on his behalf to strip the fabric of that festival, because it's for over 30 years it's been a Foundation of Black American experience. So when you come in and try to make it something else and think you're not going to get backlash, I think that was a very bad business idea. And now Essence is probably just going to dismantle, and that's going to be a bad business investment for him, because you tried to make this something that it's never been. And, people are saying, well, he bought it, and then the CEO is like, oh, we just wanted to make it better. And it's like, you think Africanizing this is making it better? Like, what is that to say? You already knew what you bought and who your core audience was, and then you're getting offended when people don't like the fact that you're trying to change it. So all of that stuff, is what led up to this boycott, because people are like, enough is enough. We're not going to have these people disrespecting us and pretty much trying to overlap our culture and things that we've been doing for decades and generations. You want us to still participate in it, but you're stripping the essence of what it is. Like I said, to me personally, that's a stupid business move, because before he bought it, it was purchased by 2 major publications that are white owned. But they didn't change the fabric of Essence. They bought it, but they continued to let the creative direction of it be ran by Foundation Black Americans. So, I don't see why he couldn't just do that. But again, people are saying those people didn't do that because they don't have respect for Black American culture. And I see why people say that, because if you're going to come in and think you're going to make these drastic changes and act like people are not supposed to say anything, but continue to spend their money with you, I personally just don't see you as a smart business person. And, when people feel disrespected, they do not have to spend their money with you. So, I don't know. Is there going to be some type of common ground that everybody can come to? Maybe. And maybe not. I don't know. What say you?
I think there shouldn't be no common ground. I think, just like I said last time when we talked about this, I think it's the actual good thing. I don't think, and this is just my thinking as a business person, when I look at African business, when I look at American business, American supporters to African businesses, I don't see where any African business has a majority of foundational Black American customer base to where this will get people shut down. I'm going to also say,
the braid shops are definitely going to feel the pain.
I'm going to also say that this particular Marisol job, whoever that brought up. Social media is a very tricky place. None of that makes sense, right? Because a person in the medical field, like you pointed out, has been through so much training that they absolutely know for a fact that you cannot, absolutely cannot, refuse aid to someone in need for any reason. That's a part of being in that field, right? So, and there is no benefit from that person. So that person wouldn't have a business that, or okay, maybe that person might, outside of being a doctor, which consumes everything in your whole life, being in the medical field consumes everything in your whole life. So if somebody has the time, effort to have a whole medical career and then have a business on the side that caters to foundational Black Americans, that business somehow now starts to diminish because of this boycott, then they're going to go to their profession, which they know they can't say what they're about to say, and actually go say that. None of that,
that
makes...
woman's not a business owner, though. When did I
That's
say
my
that?
point. That's my point. That's my point. That's why it makes absolutely no sense.
You obviously haven't seen the crash outs online. You've never seen people crash out before and do things that they didn't think about before they did it.
But that person,
people do that every single day.
But that person might have a brother.
She's not a doctor.
That person might have a brother, a father, a sister, or somebody that has a business that is an African business that's being boycotted, right? Because African business is being boycotted.
She just didn't like the fact that Foundation of Black Americans said they're going to boycott African businesses.
Right. Again,
and
it makes
took
absolutely
it
no
very
sense.
offensively. People do things that don't make sense every day. That's not an anomaly.
That's
People
true.
crash out, they get angry, they say stuff that they shouldn't have said, they do things that they shouldn't have done. That's not new. People do that all the time.
Simultaneously.
And maybe she does have friends who have African businesses.
Right. And simultaneously, the internet is a very, very tricky, very, very tricky place where you can go and show whatever you feel like showing. And that's what the world has to take, because that's what you show.
So what is your point? You're saying it's not a real video? I don't get it.
That's possible. That's what I'm saying.
Well, she got back on there saying she doesn't have a problem with Foundation of Black Americans and we need to just stop this. Yeah, you said that after you faced consequences for what you did, you wasn't thinking about that before you did what you did. But now that the consequences have fallen down on you, you're trying to make it like you're just, you don't have any issues with anybody. And, well, man, you should have thought about that before you got up there.
Well,
being
my point is, if you're an actual business owner and you own an African business, I don't see an American boycott of your business closing your business.
Well, then you don't know anything about what's actually going on to make that statement.
The reason I make that statement,
the African braiding shops has tons of Foundation of Black American women customers. And a woman got online the other day, actually, an African woman, and said, hey, y'all need to chill because y'all already know that Foundation of Black American women are y'all customer base. They're the ones that's going to be in there every month. We're not coming in there every month.
So
we'll be there 3 to 6 months out. We're not coming every month like the Black American women.
Who said that?
An African woman.
Right. So, with that being said, right, do you really, and you just named one specific business, right? I know a lot of medical procedures, African roaches, a lot of African restaurants. mentioned one particular sector of business. I can see where that might be true, right?
It ain't might be true. It is true.
Okay, well,
That's
just gonna
very.
I'm just gonna take it for granted that is true.
But everybody knows that foundational Black American women is who put these African braiding shops on the map
All right,
in America.
All right, so the boycott shuts down African braiding shops. How much does that hurt African civilization? Living in America.
African civilization.
African civilization in America.
Nobody's trying to hurt African civilization.
So what's the boycott about?
Because they're boycotting these people that are disrespecting them.
So,
and Essence Magazine.
But the boycott is to hurt you. Boycott isn't to help
They're
you.
just withdrawing their money from those places. They're not going there anymore because they're pointing out the whole reason this boycott happened is because they're pointing out the disrespect that they're receiving from these people.
Is the boycott to hurt or to help?
The boycott is just to
Is it to hurt or to help?
Businesses and go elsewhere.
Is it to hurt or to help?
I don't know if they're trying to. I mean, obviously, if you're hurting somebody's money because they own a business and you're not supporting them with your money, it's going to hurt them financially.
Right. So that's my point. So, how much does shutting down the braiding sector of the African civilization in America hurt Africans in America? That's my question.
It's not just the braiding sector, though. It's
what else
all
is it?
areas of activity. It's anything that they've been supporting before. If they've been eating at African restaurants, they're not going.
All right.
They've been going
Let's stop right there. Let's stop right there. No, let's stay right there. Let's stay right there. Let's stay right there.
I'm trying to finish my statement.
You're listing 80 things. Let's stay right here for 1 second.
No, don't cut me off while I'm speaking. That's rude. I'm trying to finish what I'm saying because you asked me a question.
Right.
And you said the African braiding shops. I said that's not all. Mm-hmm. It's that any area.
So let's deal with them one at a time. Right. So you mentioned the restaurants next. Do you really think there is more foundational Black Americans going to African restaurants than all the other cultures in America that go to African restaurants? Enough to the point where it's actually going to be able to cause a significant impact to that restaurant. I can understand with the braiding. You made your point with the braiding. Moved on to the restaurants.
I don't know because to be honest, I don't live in an area that has like a high population of Africans in the first place. There's not that many African businesses where I'm at. But
that's my point.
In places like New York.
That's my point right there.
In other northern states, there are a lot of African businesses and communities that are in proximity to Foundation Black Americans.
Hence my point. You see how you just said you are not close to a huge African area where there's a lot of African people
that are, though.
Right. So what I'm saying is, what I'm pointing out is these people created those African businesses because the Africans are in those areas who will support those businesses. And by chance, the Americans caught on and, oh, this is pretty good. Let me also indulge. Therefore, if the Americans take away that indulgence, those businesses will still thrive. That's my point.
I'm not saying that they're not going to still be in business. Like I said, I'm not in proximity, but there are people, I listen to these podcast shows every single night, and there are areas in other parts of the country where you have high populations of foundational Black Americans and Africans pretty much in close proximity to each other. And the thing about foundational Black Americans that we see is that we support everybody's businesses, but we don't really get that same support a lot of times when it comes to certain, to certain businesses. We don't really get a large scale of support, like restaurants.
Well, the food ain't that good.
That's not true.
Soul food ain't that good.
That's not that true.
From people coming from the Caribbean, from Africa, from Haiti.
First of all, you don't even
soul food ain't that good.
You don't even eat African food to say if it's good
African food ain't that good.
That's your opinion, and
my
that
point.
is your opinion.
Right.
Okay.
And food ain't that good.
And soul food is good depending on.
Soul food ain't that good.
It depends on who's
soul
cooking.
Food ain't that good.
That's your opinion. It depends.
Asian food is really good.
It depends
Cuban food is really good.
It depends on who's cooking it.
Spanish food is really good.
It depends on who's cooking the food.
with all those foods, but in general.
Yeah, I've gone to Jamaican restaurants where the food wasn't
food
good.
ain't that good.
I've gone to Haitian restaurants where the food wasn't that good. I've gone
We
to
all
Chinese restaurants.
We all
I've
have.
gone to every type of restaurant that is where I either had good food or I didn't. So
that's not the point.
That is the point.
No, that's not my point.
It's the point.
Don't tell me what my point is.
You're saying it ain't that good. First of all,
it's not that good.
And it depends on where you get it from and who cooks it, just like anywhere else you go.
It doesn't matter where you go, it's just not that good.
That's your opinion. You're one person. It's people who may love soul food. You as a one individual can't say, oh, because I say it's not that good, it's not that good. Like, what are you talking about?
Foundational Black Americans think soul food is good. Outside of that, where do you find somebody outside of foundational Black America raving about soul food? It doesn't happen.
People go all over the country. And like I said, it depends on who's making
There's
the
certain
food.
things that people like.
It depends on who's making the food, just like any other person who makes the food. You can't say, oh, because this is such and such kind of food, it's gonna be good. If the food is good, it's if the person prepares it and makes it taste good. It's not about if it's an American or an Asian or a Jamaican or a Haitian. If the person knows how to prepare the food well, it will be good.
Sauce will never be good from anybody. It will never be good from anyone.
Because you don't
Pig feet will never be good from anyone.
I don't like curry goat. But am I going to sit up here and say, oh, nobody else likes curry goat because I don't like it?
No, I didn't say nobody else likes. I didn't say that.
You said nobody else will ever like sauce, which is not true.
No, I didn't say that. I said what I said. No, I didn't. No, it's recorded. You could go play it back later. What I said was sauce will never taste good from anyone. Period.
And how do you know that?
It doesn't matter. How would I know? What do you mean, how would I know that? I won't.
You will never know that.
The appearance of it.
You will never know
Just the appearance of it.
You will never know
It will never taste good.
You
The same way like mayonnaise will never taste good.
It doesn't
It's
taste
the same
good to
thing.
you. You're one person, but you're so arrogant that you think that your one opinion is like the end all be all. It's not.
No, what I'm saying is
it will never be good,
Okay.
and that's a statement of opinion. It's not a fact.
All right,
There's
no.
plenty of people who like sauce.
No, okay. My point is
plenty of people who like sauce.
what my point is
you're never going to sit up
like
here
you
and
said,
say
like you
nobody's
pointed
gonna
out,
like something
like you
because
pointed
I
out,
don't know who likes it.
foundational Americans
Has
indulge
many different- soul food
in
is not even
as you just said. Don't cut me off because it's rude. Foundational Americans support or indulge in all others' cultures, food, and establishments, and all these other things, right? like you pointed out, there is not much support when it comes, or indulgement, because it's not really support. All it is indulgement. That's really what it is.
When you go to someone's business and you spend your money, you're supporting their
no,
business.
You're an indulgement.
You're supporting their business.
No.
You can try to rename it and make it what you know.
No.
It's support.
You're
if
exchanging.
Someone comes to you and spends money with you, that is showing support for your business.
Nope.
Yes, it is.
Nope. Because if
you can try to reshape that all you want. If you're supporting your business.
If you go and you give some money and get nothing in exchange, yeah, absolutely. But if you go and exchange money for something, you went and made a business transaction. That's not support. That's a business transaction.
I will never tell my customers that they don't support my business. That is extremely arrogant to tell people who comes and spend their money with you when they can go somewhere else that they're not supporting you.
They came and made a business transaction.
I would never say it. If you're writing a book and someone purchases your book, they're supporting you.
They made a business,
for it, but they still decided to support
They
you.
made a business.
Okay, I'm not about to argue with that. Like whatever you
period.
call it, whatever you want to call it, it's still
completely
showing support.
different.
No, it's not. It's still showing support for that particular person's business. That's just what you're doing. You're supporting them. But at the end of the day,
and that's my point, right?
At the end of the day, it is your opinion. If you don't feel like the food is good, you're just one person. There could be a million other people who disagree with you. So that's neither here nor there, because someone saying something isn't good to them is just their opinion. There's things that don't taste good to me, but that doesn't mean that they don't taste good to anyone else. There could be 2 million people who disagree with me. The whole point of I said, and for one, a lot of people don't support because, truth be told, people don't really F with us like that. And now people are starting to notice that more and more. It's something that's become it's become way more noticeable, and people are starting to talk about it more. They're like, damn, we show love and we support people and we, whatever. And we don't get that reciprocation because people, they kind of somewhat go out of their way not to really F with us like that. Which is their choice. They can do that if they want to, and that's cool. But, what it's done is it's just created a situation where people are like, okay, well, we'll withdraw our indulgement or whatever you want to call it from these particular people because what the hell are we getting out of it? We're not getting anything out of supporting these people. For one, they don't really support us. And then when we do go and support them, they're rude to us and all other types of things. So again, like I said, I see the significance in that and saying, hey, we're just going to withdraw our support from these particular groups of people who don't show us any respect, which is what everybody should do. I don't see a problem with it, but a lot of people took offense to that because for some reason they feel like they're entitled to something that they're not entitled to. And entitlement will get you screwed up every time, because if you feel like someone is supposed to, show you support or give you non-reciprocal respect, then you're really kidding yourself. And you're seeing people crashing out now because it's like, wait a minute, you're not